Hey, good evening, my friends. This is Baraka James. Today is Saturday, November 19th, first day of rifle season here in beautiful Northern Virginia. Um, I had a good friend of mine ask a question today. Kelsey, she asked me about hunting because she was sincerely and genuinely interested. When I was a kid, one of the things that I was taught is there's no such thing as stupid questions. There's only stupid people who won't answer your questions, and keep on asking until you get someone who answers your question. Never stop seeking knowledge. So, she asked very sweetly and nicely about why I hunt because she doesn't understand it and she finds it cruel and disturbing. And most people who do find hunting cruel and disturbing, it's because they don't know what's involved with hunting. They have misconceptions from what they see on TV, and they've never really been educated. So I really appreciate her taking the time to not jump to conclusions and to ask. And as a friend, of course, I'll educate on that. One of the things in life that I found to be a well-rounded person is whenever you need to know about something, ask someone who knows. Ask a friend who does something and why they do it. Growing up in high school, the reason why we had such a good mix of eclectic friends was because we asked people. One of my friends, who was a Sikh, back when he was 14, he used to wear the traditional Sikh headdress on his head. We asked him why he wore it. He broke it down, told us about it, and once he became of age, I think when he was 16, I believe, he was allowed to cut his hair. Another one of my friends who is Jewish asked him about the temple and why he wore a yarmulke. These are the good things about having friends of a very wide variety and very diverse, because you get to ask people about why they do things in a friendly, non-offensive way. And I think that's how people become more well-rounded, more educated about each other, and I think that's how society meshes better together. So I'm glad to answer the question. So I hunt because I eat what I kill. Venison, aka deer meat, because in Korean they say everything's called kogi meat. Like, to give you an example, kegogi, dog meat, sugogi, beef, tejugogi, pig meat. We make funny things like, instead of saying cow meat, we say beef. Instead of saying deer meat, we say venison. So we're talking about deer meat today. And it is delicious. It is organic as it can get. And I like to know where my meat comes from. My family and I, we try to eat very clean. We go to local farms around our area to get produce. We get unpasteurized raw milk from a farm locally here for our children and our family. We get locally grown vegetables from a farm called Union Camp Mill Farm. My friends Paul and Kathleen down the street, they have a 55-acre farm. They grow lots of organic produce there. We get some nitrite-free cured bacon from them. We get fresh sausage from them. And with the venison, I know exactly where it came from. For example, today, my friend Joel Michael Townsend, who I took out hunting with me today, he shot a doe, and when he was field dressing it, aka gutting it, we saw corn in the stomach, corn and grass. So we know exactly what that deer was eating. There's no steroids, there's nothing bad in it. And after we were done, we took it to the butcher. It is now being processed. It will come back as deer burger, basically ground meat. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between beef and deer meat because they look almost identical, except some of them put beef fat in it, and it's very delicious. It's extremely lean, and again, very, very good for you. And my family and I, as well as all my friends who hunt, we all do it to feed our families. Outside of that, we also take the time to donate to a cause called Hunters for the Hungry, so a lot of soup kitchens, churches, and charitable places, they get a lot of dried foods donated, like macaroni and cheese, canned foods, cereals, things like that. But without this meat, a lot of these people would not have any meat at all this fall and winter. I mean, they're that poor. They're way under the poverty line, and they rely on these places. They go there like a grocery store to these food places and these soup kitchens, and that's what they do. They're allowed to take a certain amount of food for their families, and so I'm very proud to support it. One of the questions that was asked is, why do I smile because I'm very happy that, for example, the buck I killed back in 2013 was 240 pounds. That meat all went to Hunters for the Hungry. So I knew it was going to feed a lot of families. When I took it to the butcher, he said that was the biggest deer that had been brought to his butcher shop, and he was extremely proud of me for donating because he thought I was going to process it and keep it for myself. And I told him, no, I'll get smaller ones for my family. And I want to give this where it's going to go and stretch the longest and help out the most people. So I don't trophy hunt. For example, that buck was a beautiful buck, but I wasn't going out specifically looking for a buck. I was going out to hunt for food. I eat those. I don't personally like buck meat, so I usually donate the buck meat, and they're usually larger animals. I like the ones that are smaller and tender. As far as keeping overpopulation down, that is another reason that we hunt. I participated in the Fairfax County Deer Population Reduction Program. There was a doctor who lived over in Great Falls whose wife was driving down Georgetown Pike one night, late at night, and unfortunately she hit a large buck, went through her windshield, and it killed her instantly. That doctor got his area put on the Fairfax County Deer Population Reduction list, and a lot of our hunters go and hunt that area to keep the deer population down. What happens is every time you see a new neighborhood, luxury or not, townhouses, single family homes, doesn't matter. We're destroying the deer's natural habitat. So what happens is that's why you see deer all over the city. You constantly, every fall, especially during the rut is their mating season, when the bucks go out and chase doe that are in heat, and they reproduce, and they're much more active, getting hit by cars. If we don't keep down the population, they will be out in the streets in your neighborhood eating your shrubbery, your gardens, things like that, and going through your car windows or potentially hurting someone that's dear to you, just like that happened to that doctor. We help keep the population down, and not only that, instead of ending up dead on the side of the road for vultures, we either eat it or we donate the meat. You know, there are trophy hunters out there. I don't know any, and I'm not one of them. Everything that I kill, I eat, or I give to someone else to eat. I also hunt for a lot of my friends who have farms, and there's a lot of crop damage from these deer. I go and I hunt and I take that on those, and again, they go in my freezer. One of my friends was going through a very hard time with his family, and he had lost his job and had to take a job making significantly less money. The way he survived for 2 years was on venison. You know why? Because you can go shoot 140-pound doe, get 80 pounds of meat for your family for $80. You can't do that at a grocery store. You can't get organic red meat. And he has chickens just like I do. I have chickens that I get the eggs from every day that I feed and take care of. And that's how we get our eggs, and that's how he got his eggs. His family's breakfast was eggs and venison. Sometimes they had eggs and venison all 3 meals because they had a lot of chickens, and they had no other money, and they didn't want to get on welfare or any kind of government assistance because the man has a lot of pride and he wanted to take care of his family. So other people may have other reasons. There's a lot of tradition in it. Also learning how to survive off the land, just like our ancestors did. You know, I'm mixed, black, white, Native American. My Native American ancestry, they hunted deer constantly for survival. It's an American tradition that I'm proud to partake in. Knowing how to go out in the woods with minimal things and survive off the land is a great thing. It's nothing wrong with it, nothing bad with it. You know, with like everything, no matter what reason I do it, people are going to dislike it, and that's fine. There's a lot of things that people do in this world that I dislike, but, you know, I don't say anything about it because it's not my business. So, but friends of mine, when they come to me and ask me, I'm gladly to answer them, and they can respect it and like it, or they can respect it and not. We can agree to disagree. But I will always answer questions wholeheartedly and sincerely because I care, and I can tell that it's a genuine interest. And so I hope this answers your question, Kelsey and Cheryl. I hope that you'll understand now too. You know, one of the things is a lot of people don't know where their meat comes from. They just go to a grocery store. They pick out meat. They have no idea what kind of conditions that cattle were in. A lot of times it's mud and feces. If you go to Netflix and watch like Food Incorporated and a bunch of these, there's plenty of ones, Beef Incorporated, Food Incorporated, Cowzilla, all kinds of things, and they're horrible, wretched conditions. Same things for chicken and all these things. I know where my meat came from. I know what my meat's been eating. There's no hormones, there's no steroids, there's nothing bad, and I give that gladly to my family. My children know where it comes from. After I've killed deer, I take my children out. I bring out the deer meat and I show them. I say, this is where this comes from. And my children have an appreciating and understanding. my 8-year-old warrior princess, Mai, when she's 10, she wants to go hunting with me, and I've already told her yes. And because she wants to learn how to live off the land, I'm very proud of her because she'll be self-sufficient if she ever needed to be. And she also understands why it's important to know where your food comes from. So I'm really happy. I'm very tired. I only got 5 hours of sleep last night. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. I been outside walking in the woods all day. I just came home, took a shower, and I'm exhausted, but I thought it was important to make this video. So I apologize if I'm a little discombobulated and my words are a little slurred, but I'm pretty freaking tired right now. But I hope this answers your question. Kelsey, Cheryl K.N., I hope you get a little bit of understanding. Oh, and I have to share one more thing with you. So today I missed Hangulhakyo Korean school because I was out hunting. And one of my fellow students there, she made a face. This is an older lady. She made a face when my wife told her I was hunting. She's like, hunting? Ugh, I didn't know Baraka hunts. And made it. So my wife said, oh, Susan, do you eat meat? And Susan said, yes, of course. And she said, okay, well, we eat the deer that my husband hunts. And she's like, oh. She's like, yeah. He kills usually about 3, puts them in our freezer. Those usually last about 2 years. We eat the roast, we get stew meat, we get burger, we get beef sticks made, sausage, and we eat it all. And that's what we prepare for our friends who come over. And, it lasts a long time. It's organic. And she's like, oh. And a light bulb went off her head because my wife took the time to get her to see a different approach. But she immediately shunned it and turned her nose up because she didn't understand it. And now she does. And my wife said she could tell she felt foolish afterwards. And she was like, that's really cool. And then she told her about Hunters for the Hungry and how I donate every year to help out other people. And she's like, I had no idea that hunters did those kind of things. Not to mention how much for wildlife preservation we do and things like that. But I'm not the best person to go on that. You can look up and see about wildlife preservation. But one thing that you all need to understand is we're all ethical hunters. So we don't take crack shots. One shot, one kill. When there's a deer going out, we shoot either here, right behind the shoulder, which will hit in the heart or the lungs. And if you shoot through the double lung, the deer drops, it's dead instantly. You shoot the heart, it's dead instantly. You shoot at the head, it's dead instantly. They never suffer. And it's the most ethical way to put them down. And again, we're grateful because we harvest our own food. We know where it came from. There's no contamination. We know exactly where it was, and we know exactly where we got it from. We know what it was eating because we look inside the stomach when we harvest the deer. So I hope this answers your question, Kelsey, and anyone else out there. If you still sneer, you know what? I got nothing for you. I will continue to hunt. My children will hunt. They'll teach their children to hunt. My friends and I will continue hunting because we're doing something that is good for the environment, good for wildlife preservation, good to help our communities, and helping our families, which is most important because we eat the food that we go out and we kill. A lot of people, like I said, where does your meat come from? You have no idea. It's probably got steroids, laden with hormones, things like that. Not judging. You can eat that stuff, but I wouldn't eat it. So anyway, thanks for your time, friends. You guys have a good night. Please stay safe and be vigilant. God bless you.